everybody, welcome to Robert's Train Set. Have a drop of tea. I wasn't going to do a video this week. I know it looks quite nice here with no sun out, but the sun's the other side of the house and heating up the loft on that side of the roof until it pops over the ridge and does this side in equal measure. I have just been up there and did a little bit of filming for this, but not for very long, and it was still 28 when I went up there, so pretty warm. So what's the idea of this video? I did a stream last Sunday in which I mentioned my lake and that I had put some PVA glue on it, and I'll give you a little clip of what I said when I mentioned it in the move. So a little bit of that, and just to give you in the picture, and then I'll show you some pictures of what it looks like now. It's not great, but you know, it's a train set, and it looks a little bit more realistic, I would say. Not much, but a little bit. And there's also a bit of drama with it as well. But I think ostensibly this could have obviously waited until maybe being tacked onto a running session. I'm sorry people, no trains running on this video, absolutely none at all. I could have taken some old footage and put it in, but it's not really the thing, is it? So ostensibly the reason for this video is, in that stream, along with a lot of questions I asked and some answers that I was hoping to get, which I did to a certain extent, I mentioned about Jerry Allen. And things have transpired. My train set is no longer flat. How have I managed that? Let's go and have a look. I have a lake. Yes, I know, looks like a swan, never mind. And I said I got a hill. Well, have a watch everybody. Look. There's definitely a bit of undulation there. Not very much, but there is. Though it's not as high as the rails. There you are, see? Look. I got a hill. I've done this bit of blue, and that is basically a separate bit of paper, just a thin printing paper. But I could try Glenn's method from his channel of LNER 1947. I'll get it out in the end. With the PVA. So we'll see. But that'll be at a later date, not now. Now, I'm sure some of you will remember him. About 6 months or so, he gave out his last video that we've seen, and basically, to cut a long story short, his employers had asked him to move from Kampala in Uganda, where he lived at the time, with his layout called Kampala Road, to Australia. Now, the plan was to go to Brisbane and start doing whatever his employers wanted to do, and he was going to have a shed built, purposely built for a railway, and you know, he was quite confident, like a lot of modelers, like Matt Slade was, for having his revamp, that yeah, you know, 6 months or so he could be back. So he isn't, is he? And I have to tell you, from what I've learned from him recently, that it won't be for quite a while. So I will just briefly go over the story that I did in the stream, because I do know some of my viewers do not like watching live streams. I think they are an acquired taste, especially to watch them back afterwards, after the event. So very briefly, Jerry was told his employers wanted him back in Australia in a week from when I think he uploaded this video. So he packed his railway up, said goodbye to his family, and jetted off to Australia. Now, for whatever reason, and I didn't actually bother to ask him why, but he ended up in Adelaide. And then what happened? Well, COVID-19 happened, didn't it? Like to a lot of us. And he was very concerned, and he tried to get back to Kampala with his family. Didn't make it for whatever reason. Either the country shut down or they wouldn't accept people from Australia. And he only just said he made it back to Adelaide, which must have been really frustrating. And he's only actually been back in Brisbane, or actually got to Brisbane about 5 or 6 weeks ago. You know, we're talking about these events that happened 6 months ago. So as you can imagine, he's not in a very good frame of mind. His family is still in Kampala. So his wife and his two kids, 2 little boys, I think, are still there. And they've been separated now for 6 months. I mean, I expect he's doing video calls with them, hopefully. But yeah, so that's where he is at the moment. So, the only good thing about the railway, and I'm sorry, it's itching. Might be this, or I need some more tea. The only good thing about the railway is he did manage to bring 30 locomotives with him when he came over to Australia. So at least he's got 30 of his locomotives, which are probably the most vulnerable, aren't they, when they're not being used and left in a lot of heat. Although that's not saying Brisbane is particularly cool. So really, the first priority is obviously to get his family from Africa to Australia. And he said once he does that, he will probably do a little video with his children, you know, just to sort of set out what's happening. But I feel really sorry for him, and I'm sure most of you will be the same as me. You know, it's got circumstances, you know, they can catch you out, can't they? And that's where he is at the moment. So whether he got the shed built, I doubt it. I think, you know, he's going to be a bit mentally not really worried about trains or YouTube. He did admit to me that he's not looked at any YouTube videos, but he is in contact with a few people that he met through it. But yeah, now he did give me permission to mention this in the stream, which I did. So if you want to see a fuller version, although not that much fuller, have a look at that. But yes, if you don't like it, I thought I'd do it here. The reason being that only about 260 people have seen that stream, so it's obviously not getting picked up to go to a wider audience, shall I say. So I thought it was worth doing this again. So I'm sure we'll all wish him well, and that his predicament is sorted out ASP, you know, as soon as possible, because that is awful, isn't it? That is awful. And we'll look forward to him coming back with his railway, whether it's Kampala Mark II or number 2 or another name, I don't know, in the future. And we'll look forward to that. So, not very good news for him, not very good news for us, because we do miss him, or I do. I used to watch all of his videos. They're quite interesting, aren't they? And just such a nice laid back way of doing them, really good. Anyway, that's enough on poor old Jerry, and hopefully he will keep me contacted about what happens if, you know, he has time. But we'll see how we go. So as we can see, this is the lake as it is today, and looking a bit different. It's obviously got all its trees and people around, which make a lot of difference. Boulders each end for where the streams come in, and as you can see, the swan that was in the middle is now coming up towards the bank, and if I pan in going a bit closer, some of the children are running away, but others, including the adult, is standing watching this huge swan comes towards them at such a rate of knots that there's a wake, as you can see. So I think this has worked reasonably well. I'll alter the position and hopefully you'll see the sheen on it. So I think from this angle you can sort of see It's got a slight sheen. It is a little bit bitty. It's not as good as the proper people that do it, but you can see there's a sheen, and it's worked very well. And the ripples are caused by the paper that I told you about in the last bit, actually rippling when I put the glue on, and it's actually worked quite well. It's exactly the right width to the swan. So I'm pleased with this, and it's just made it look a bit better. I've just dotted a few bits of vegetation around. I will eventually get some more and put probably reeds or something around a bit, but it would be maintained in a country park, I would think. So I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased. I just sort of mentioned where I did my lake. I mean, it's basic stuff. I'm not an expert, but as I said in the little clip from the move, Glyn from 1947. LNER 1947. I have trouble with that. Don't know what. Did do a little video on this, and as I said, I think Kathy Millett and quite a few others have probably done it as well. And I've got to say, it works. I'll show you a little picture of my PVA glue, and it's the cheapest of the cheapest stuff you can buy. Really thin. I didn't water it down, I did it neat, and basically I just the piece of blue paper that I'd done with a felt tip pen, I just left in the bottom. I didn't glue it in or anything. Gradually poured the glue in, spreading it a bit with a brush, but eventually I almost filled it up so it was actually almost over the ripples that developed because it had swollen with the moisture. And that's the basis for the ripples where the swan is moving. And then once that had all gone off, and because of all this hot weather, it went off pretty quick, even though it was fairly thick. I put, you're not going to like this, but I used Tipex to do the white foam. So anything that is available I will use. I'm not proud. If it looks okay, fine. And I'd like your comments, good or bad. Yes, they're not up to a Luke Towing or anybody else that does this sort of thing. Even Glyn's one looks better than mine. But yeah, I'm happy, you know, train set. So again, I'm sorry for not doing any trains running this week, and I will try and get some up for next week if it cools down a bit. And if we're not swept away on all the floods from the rain that we're due to get, but whether we'll get it or not here, I don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd do it out in the garden. It's a bit cooler, and got a nice table I can put my thing. So, rambling again. So, I'm going to finish this here now. Hope you're all well, keeping safe, and watch out for my next one, either live or recorded, whichever. All right, everybody? Bye.